Hello, welcome back to Transfer News Live. I'm Statman Dave, bringing you the Scout Report, the best place for analysis on the biggest transfers in football. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Benjamin Sesko, ahead of his move to Manchester United. Even though Newcastle made an initial bid to Leipzig, reports suggest the Slovenian international prefers a move to Old Trafford. But why do Manchester United want him so badly? Today, we're going to be answering that question. But if you are new around here, make sure you smash that subscribe button and like the video. Anyway, let's get this party started. A very quick, very tall striker at RB Leipzig, Sesko has developed his all-round game to become much more technically proficient. This has seen Sesko become a target of progressive passes, receiving the ball and instantly controlling with his improved first touch. From these positions, Sesko has got two real options. If, for example, he's getting pressed by a defender and there's pressure on his back, he'll simply move the ball on after taking that good first touch. Alternatively, if there's space for Sesko to get himself turned into, what he'll do is directly drive at the opposition's backline, a player that likes to carry the ball. In fact, Sesko in the 24-25 season saw his progressive passes per 90 increase by nearly 50% compared to the 23-24 campaign. The speed at which Sesko carries the ball makes him a serious threat when he's got space to operate in, notably in transitions or on the counter-attack. Take this goal against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League last season. Sesko positioning himself as the outball for Leipzig. They find his feet, he opens himself up with a good left-footed touch. Just notice the three Atletico Madrid players around him. But Sesko surges forward with his speed and carries from his own defensive third into the final third. Drawing over Jose Jimenez, creating a 3v2 for Leipzig, simply shipping Openda in behind, and Openda should apply the finish, right? He doesn't. It's well saved by Oblak. And there's Benjamin Sesko leaping above the opposition centre-half to score a really good goal on the counter-attack following a surge through the heart of Atletico Madrid's midfield. Whilst this might seem like it'll be easy to take away Benjamin Sesko's biggest weapon away from him by having teams sitting in low blocks, Manchester United have actually struggled against the opposite. Over the past two seasons, United have notoriously struggled against teams that press them high up the pitch. They go man for man in central midfield and stop them building up. The deepest players for United in build-up have lacked composure and quality to play through well-organised pressure, and such have given goals away. United have lost 3-0 twice to Bournemouth under the high-pressing Iraola, whilst Newcastle have won 5 of the last 6 encounters with an aggregate score of 14-3. They've also been Brighton, who have beaten United more times in the Premier League over the past 3 seasons than any other side. In simple terms, teams of all qualities have had recent success against Manchester United by pressing high, and that is going to continue. There's also Amorim's tactics. A possession-based coach, Amorim instructs his players to play out from the back to try and draw in the opposition's pressure, to create space in advanced areas. There's two things here. First, Amorim has been pragmatic, and we saw that last season. If his teams can't seem to find passes in between the lines, they'll simply drop the ball back to the goalkeeper and go long to a big number 9. United struggled with this last season because strikers Højlund and Xerxes really struggled to compete in aerial duels, with both players having a sub 30% win rate when it comes to aerial duels in the Premier League. Meanwhile, Sesko, even though he's not a target man, is far better in the air, and by going by his stats, he tends to win the majority of his headers, as he ranks in the top 4% of strikers for aerial duel win rate. By going direct, this can naturally bypass defenders and give the opportunity for teammates to run onto the ball. In fact, in Leipzig's 3-3 draw with Bayern, Sesko outjumped Eric Dyer to create a dangerous situation for Luis Openda, but his touch let him down. So if United are forced to go long to Sesko, not only could he win knockdowns for the 2-10s, but he could also force wayward headers from the opposition that United can challenge for. Alternatively, if he gets a clean contact on it and he's challenged by one of the opposition's centre-backs, that space could be attacked by Bryan Mbeumo, making a run from that attacking midfield position. Second, Amorim is quite a vertically possession-based manager, and once he's drawn the opposition to press them high up the pitch, he does quite like to use quick passing combinations to get through the lines and get into the final third. We've already seen United create these kind of artificial or faux counter-attacking situations in pre-season with Mbeumo and Cunha reliably receiving progressive passes. Take this example against Everton. We pick up the play with Lenny Yoro in possession. He plays a 1-2 with Amad Diallo and then drops the ball down the flank. From this situation, because United have drawn in the Everton left-back, they can progress into space. We see Brian Mbeumo receive the ball, and United have their 3 attackers in close proximity. There's some combination play with Mbeumo to Bruno Fernandes, and then Man United have created this situation we talk about, a 4-on-4 situation. Bruno gets his head up, slides Amad Diallo in behind the Everton defence into that vacated space that United have created from drawing Mykolenko high. Amad Diallo then takes a touch, pokes the ball behind for a really good chance for Matheus Cunha. Good play, drawing the opponents onto them and then playing direct to beat the press. Failing all of that, Amorim likes his teams to sit in a mid-block. So let's say that ball is knocked up the pitch and actually it's been taken by the defensive team and they're getting into their attacking shape or attacking structure, especially in that central midfield area. What Amorim wants his teams to do to squeeze up the pitch and play more in a mid-block situation. Not only meaning the opposition have less pace to play in, but big counter-attacking potential for Manchester United. The space of being higher up the pitch means that you can directly break into these types of areas. And we all know the pace of Brian Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha, but now Benjamin Sesko as well could really open teams on the counter-attack, and we could see some great football at Old Trafford. But let's bring it back to Benjamin Sesko. Not only will he improve Manchester United from this defensive positions or counter-attacking threat, he works very hard off the ball. But also he's going to add a lot to United's possession game, as we mentioned before. Once Man United have won the ball back and they get into their attacking structure in terms of creating for their teammates and getting the ball up the pitch. Not only is Benjamin Sesko a good direct ball to play to, aerially can dominate those situations, but he's also a great option into feet. So United now have 3 really good options into feet, and then maybe 2 balls over the top with Brian Mbeumo as well, and Benjamin Sesko. And then we've got the drifting of Matheus Cunha. That is a lot of differences from last season, where United's build-up structure and the attackers were very flat, would stick to their own positions, not receive the ball in good enough areas, but also not make enough runs behind the defence. And as we mentioned at the start, Sesko is very good at linking the play, but he doesn't tend to kind of sit up against the centre-half and fight them. What he tends to do is to drop off and move into space, and then receive the ball in these types of areas, again to get himself turned and running directly at the opposition. Not only has Sesko scored goals in the Bundesliga against Dortmund and Bayern Munich, but he's also excelled in the Champions League. We had a look at his goal against Atletico Madrid before. Now let's take a look at a goal against Sporting Club de Portugal. We pick up the play with Zweibeld in possession. Sesko is in this halfway house position. Could be an option to receive to feet, but also could spin in behind the defence. What he does is he makes that forward run to create some more space for his teammates, but then he drops off the line into space. This is what we mean about him not playing up against the centre-back. This is very much a modern thing. Strikers coming off the line almost acting a little bit like a false 9. We see Joshua Zirkzee do it, and Sesko does it here. He receives really well as a defender, presses him on the back with a lovely little layoff to Zweibeld. This allows not only Leipzig to retain possession, but they can start to look to switch the play. The pass is blocked, it's rebounding to Xavi Simons. Just watch Benjamin Sesko. He's not really alive at the moment. He's jogging, he's making that move, he's pretending that he's not switched on. But as soon as that ball is shipped out wide, Sesko is going to explode into that sprinting position. David Raum fires a great ball across the penalty area, and Sesko's there to slide it in. A brilliant goal, but some really nice link play off the centre half. And this goal is very similar to the Man United move against Everton, using a quick up back through to progress the play to release a marauding wing back out wide. But whereas Cunha ultimately lacked a little bit of sport, Sesko may have had the speed to catch up with the play like he did against Sporting. What's more is if opponents refuse to take the bait and try to sit deep against United, Sesko is very well equipped to break low blocks. We've already mentioned his height and aerial dual win rate, and we saw him outjump Atletico and European champion centre-back Lenormand to score a header. So it might come as no surprise that 6'5" Benjamin Sesko is good at attacking crosses, which would be good for wingbacks Patrick Dorgu and Amad Diallo. Dorgu with more of a naturally left-footed cross, Amad cutting inside and putting the ball onto the penalty spot. And while slinging in crosses into the box hasn't something always been associated with Amorim's tactics, it's very much a valid method of chance creation that he used with the Sporting Lisbon side. In fact, in 3 seasons in charge, Amorim's side sent in more crosses than any any other team in Portugal. Now, Amorim might have moved on from that tactical idea, or maybe that's just how his team developed, but Sesko could be very, very effective at attacking crosses from Man United's wingbacks. Not only does he take up good positions, but he attacks the ball well, making him a very dangerous aerial goal scorer. In fact, Sesko has scored 8 goals from 28 headed shots in the Bundesliga, which equates to a conversion rate of 29%. And even if Sesko suffers a serious drop-off in aerial ability when moving to the Premier League, he's still got a ridiculously powerful shot and scored 3 goals from outside the box last season, ranking him 3rd in the Bundesliga. And shooting from range is a very viable way of breaking down a low block. The Premier League team with the most experience against low blocks is Pep Guardiola's City. In fact, in the last 3 title-winning seasons, City have ranked 1st in the Premier League for goals outside the box. Scoring screamers from range might only happen a couple of times per season, but Sesko shooting from distance through a crowd of players could cause enough mayhem to get a few extra scrappy goals as well. The concern with Benjamin Sesko is that he's another project player. For all his quality, he still misses simple chances and makes bad decisions. Sesko is a player that still needs to be coached to have his game ironed out. Is Manchester United really the best place for that to happen? Recent history would suggest no. However, the United's new leadership team, joining up their thinking with Ruben Amorim, that will change. Sesko is also not a teenager like Rasmus Højlund or Alejandro Garnacho. Sesko has already played 9,000 professional minutes, which is more than twice as many as Højlund before he moved to Old Trafford. Manchester United need a massive rebuild, and the fix isn't going to come overnight. As much of the concept of signing a Premier League proven player like Ollie Watkins or Mateta will bring immediate results, that only kicks the striker problem down the road for a couple of seasons, when a new striker will be need to sign again. So why not bring the best young striker in European football to Old Trafford today? The signings of Mbeumo and Cunha, as well as more time for Ruben Amorim to coach his side, should make enough difference for Manchester United, so they can take a season for Sesko to bed in. But if he can carry on his form to Old Trafford, United will have a significant improvement up front. But anyway guys, that's my thoughts of Benjamin Sesko's move to Manchester United. If you are new around here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and we will see you in